Welcome back, everybody, and thank you for being here. We're really excited to go into a second panel here in the beautiful Cascais at the SIS 2025 here. So welcome again and welcome back for some of you. All right, satellite. We're going to talk about it. The current technological innovation, trends, and advancement in satellite markets on a regional and global scale. Now, long sentence. I don't know who makes these questions, these things, but anyway, let's move into this because I know you're really eager to go for lunch. But stay with us for the coming half an hour, 45 minutes. I quickly give all the senior experts here a quick minute to introduce themselves. Then we're going to listen to Christoph from SES, of course, for his presentation. And already I would like to thank SES for the sponsorship of this for this session. So I'll quickly give the word. Jan, if you can start, please.
Is it working? Okay, it's working. Okay, so thank you very much for the invitation. Good morning, everyone. My name is Tiago Pérez. I work for the Portuguese Space Agency. The Portuguese Space Agency is responsible for promoting and implement the Portuguese space strategy, which, among many things, the primary goal is to foster the space ecosystem.
So from Portugal, immediately we go to the neighbor, which is Spain.
Hello, good morning. I'm Jorge Rodriguez, the head of product and marketing at Hispasat. It's a pleasure to be here. It's my first time here at SIS. Hispasat is a satellite operator and service provider. Our home markets are Spain and Portugal, but also we provide services in Americas and Africa. A pleasure.
Thank you so much and welcome as well. And Rakesh, I know that last year you couldn't make it, so I'm very happy, proud and honored to have you this year on stage here with me for VSAT. Please.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rakesh Kukreja, CEO for ISAT Africa. We mainly operate in African continent, offering various services, including satellite, which is one of the core service. And we have two different applications, one for enterprise connectivity to enterprise customers that includes connecting the banks or mining company or oil rigs. And second is the telecom. We still believe satellite is playing and will continue playing a major role in connectivity to different towers, telecommunication infrastructure, and many more. And that's the only way to go to rural communities as well. So very happy to be part of this.
Thank you for being here. And Christoph, first, please, maybe you can introduce yourself and then immediately move into your presentation, which we're really eager to have a look at. So please.
So thank you for having me here for the second year in a row. It's a pleasure to be here in the beautiful Cascais. And I hope there will be many, many more time for me to be here. I'm Christoph Fereni. I'm responsible for the European market at SES and manage Orange globally. SES stands for Société Européenne des Satellites. And today we'll be very pleased to touch base on current and future trends on satellite connectivity. But before to start to talk about the connectivity parts, I would like to congratulate a football team.
Here we go.
And guys, things change and things do not change. So for instance, I used to have a mustache. I don't have a mustache. But the one thing that didn't change is, wow. And not only they won the league, but they also won the cup against Benfica Lisbon. But next year, 2026, might see a bit of red. So I'm going to start now to show a video because this year is the 40th birthday of SES. It's also the 40th birthday of my dear friend Miguel Boavida that is sitting in front here. And it's also the 40th year of Cristiano Ronaldo that scored yesterday.
Yes.
Thank you. So at SES, what we believe in today and what is it that we can provide? We believe in the multi-orbit approach. We own satellite on the GEO orbits, on the MEO orbits, and we partner with LEO players for the LEO orbits. We believe that the multi-orbit is the best fit architecture to support customer needs and specific application in cruise, governments, energy, and telco. But you might tell me, well, everybody's talking about multi-orbits, so what differentiates yourself? Well, what differentiates yourself is our MEO constellation. And our MEO constellation, we're the only one to operate at middle Earth orbit. And what differentiates MEO from the rest? Firstly, the throughput. We can push gigabits of committed information rate on one terminal. We are the only one who can do it. Secondly, we provide predictability in terms of jitter, packet loss, and low latency. Thirdly, we provide high availability of connectivity. It's not best effort, which is critical when you support connectivity for mission critical application. And lastly is the flexibility. So we can dynamically move capacity from one site to another using our orchestration arc. And this really differentiates ourselves from what is out there. And MEO, same than MEO, you see? It's meant to be, it's meant to be, you see? That's why. Exactly. So, you tell me it's nice, multi-orbit, MEO is nice, but what do you serve? So basically, we have solutions that serve different segments. So if you look at the mobile backhaul, we provide mobile backhaul to the top 20 MNOs worldwide for 2G, 4G, and 5G. And we provide multi-orbit, so a GEO and LEO to support 2G, while 4G aggregation site or 5G site can be using mPOWER. We also provide connectivity to the cruise. So on the cruise, we provide MEO, GEO, and LEO. So we contract today with a 19 top cruise company on the 20th biggest one. I think Norwegian Cruises is the only one we don't provide connectivity. But there, we provide gigabit of connectivity in the middle of the ocean. We also provide extension to telcos. So just to give you an example, we just installed and commissioned a link in Wallis and Futuna with Orange, which is a backup to the submarine cable, and also provide domestic connectivity on the island Futuna. And we also provide connectivity to the plane. So we have a solution which is called Open Orbits. It's a mix of MEO and GEO connectivity to provide seamless connectivity to all the planes. And you might have been using internet on the plane using SES connectivity. But this is for today. And what will come tomorrow? And I think this is what is interesting for all of us. Yeah? So I'm very pleased that our satellite number 7 and 8 on mPOWER is operational since, I think, 2 days ago. So our full mPOWER constellation is now up and running. But what's coming next? So we are working to provide direct to cell or direct to device, and we are partnering with a company called Link. So we've made an investment in the company, and together we will work on providing a solution which will be using their technology with our technology. And we hope to be operational by 2026, 2027 to provide direct to cell to MNOs worldwide. And last but not least, and I will go a bit in details at the end of this presentation, is IRIS². So IRIS² will come. They are saying it should be 2030. I'm a very optimistic person. I will say 2028, but don't quote me, please. And all of this innovation will enable new use cases and new segments. So, direct to device, what will it enable? So, firstly, providing direct connectivity, instantly connectivity when there is a disaster. When you are actually walking, like I do, in the French Alps, and you have no connectivity, and you are late to go home, you need to let your wife know that you are late to go home. Well, Link will be there. And lastly, all the IoT smart application. So not only direct to device, but we'll see also a lot of SATCOM IoT application, such as smart agriculture. It's amazing what's happening on a farm today. We are working together with a partner in the French Alps and supporting the digital transformation of a farm. And it's amazing what can be done today on a farm. Just to give you an example, for instance, you can have IoT sensor on a field to measure the water. So you can optimize the way the water is being used on the field, and everything is, being connected, being used, being smartly managed. And this is one example. It's the same for connected cars. So we are talking with a lot of big cars company about how to connect seamlessly cars moving forward. And all of this is happening, guys. And then IRIS². So I believe most of you have heard of IRIS². So that you know, my wife's first name is Iris. So I see Iris in the morning, yeah, in Cascais. It's not easy, but what is IRIS² in a nutshell? So basically, Europe, Thierry Le Breton had an idea, which was to have a sovereign constellation, to be independent from America and other parties. So it's already starting. We expect to be live on 2030. And the idea is to have a resilient sovereign constellation with global coverage to serve governments, but also commercial services. What you actually see here is the players, the one that plays a role in this project. It's big. The main drivers are Eutelsat, Hispasat here, and us SES. So we'll be operating and designing and co-investing in the constellation. And then you have also other players that will be responsible more for the ground infrastructure, such as Orange, Thales, Airbus, Hisdesat, Telespazio. So you can see that the main players are part of this project, which is a good thing. On the other hand, it's make it also very difficult, because a French company working with a Spanish company, working with a Luxembourgish company, different culture, different way of looking at things, different interests also. But I am very positive that it's going to be a success and that we'll be able to have our own constellation by 2028. And again, don't quote me, please. So what's going to be IRIS²? We'll have actually a mix of MEO satellites, 18 MEO. It will be the version 3.0, I would say, of mPOWER. We call it the M100. We will have 264 LEO satellites. I will call it maybe version 2.0 of OneWeb satellites. We'll provide global coverage. We will have 5G as a ground segment. And we will have flat panel multi-band terminal. And basically, this is one thing that we have been lacking at SES, and we are doing our best to catch up, is the size of the terminals. And we should be in a position to have terminals about this size, 25 by 25. So the key feature of this constellation will be first global coverage. So we'll be able to cover the polar Arctic and Antarctic, which was not the case with MEO. It will be fully compatible to 5G application. There will be high resiliency and security, which is very, very important, especially for the government here in Europe. And we'll provide committed SLA, so not best efforts, because we really want to ensure that we can deliver what we say we'll be able to deliver, especially to support critical application. And last but not least, what does it mean for the MEO part, which is the one that SES brings? So we'll be able to support and secure the sovereign governmental application. We will be able to provide commercial services, so maritime, aero, and enterprise. And the actual features that are going to be new that we don't have today are going to be space data relay. So we'll be able to communicate between satellites, polar coverage I mentioned, manage and sovereign services, which is very important for government, and the small high throughput flat panel antenna that you can that will be able to install easily, that will not be using too much energy, and that will be very flexible to play around. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's IRIS². I think I kind of covered everything on the current, the future trends on sporting being champion again, and I will give the mic back to you, Eric.
Thank you so much. Christophe. Thank you so much. Yeah, you know what? I'll come back on the IRIS² in a bit. I'll come back on it. So thank you very much. Very interesting, and again, congratulations with you know, all the 40th birthdays we have around you. But very impressive presentation. So thank you very much what you've with the SES networks it did so far. So having heard your ideas of the futures, Rakesh and Jorge and Tiago, I want to hear, let's say, from you, starting with you, Rakesh. You heard his proposition for the future, right? How do you see the today market, you know, and especially on the terrestrial, but also on, let's say, in comparison with the non-terrestrial networks? What do we see around us? What are the challenges we see?
Well, the first stage will be that there'll be a seamless integration between terrestrial and satellite, which means each technology will start complementing as far as the final edge computing will be concerned. And all the newer technologies, whether we have MEO or LEO, obviously are going to play a much major role, because one of the things that the GEO was missing, or a couple of things that GEO was missing, was latency and the throughput. And if those throughputs start getting added, obviously the seamless integration will be the final point for us. On top of it, satellite still plays a major role for connecting the unconnected today. I come from Africa, where we still feel 65% of the population are not well connected. You can say 30% is not connected at all, which is quite a big gap that needs to be filled. And satellite will play a major role now that LTE and other technologies can also be enabled using satellite. This is where we feel the satellite with newer features are going to play a major role. We were just also reading that how the edge caching can also be enabled using satellite. I think that will be a game changer. If that happens, there'll be a lot of dependency on the local backhauls, and the cost related to it also will start coming down. So in a nutshell, satellite plays a major role and going to be more important as we go with the newer technologies as they come.
Okay. So, who of the gentlemen? Jorge.
Yeah.
Tell me, how do you see the current state of the terrestrial and non-terrestrial networks?
Yeah, so first, let me share with you, because maybe some of you don't know, what is the size of the market of the satellite sector. So the total revenues of the satellite sector is 113 billion USD, the US billions. So in the coming years, this will grow to 130. Most of the services, the growth will come in the wholesale part, especially because of the rise of these new capacities that we are seeing in the LEO, MEO constellation, like Iris Square. Right now, still 92% of the market is geostationary. So it's still a big market for geostationary. It's also because of one of the main parts of our business is media, is video delivery, and this is mainly done by geostationary services. So this is where we are right now. We are seeing, as Christoph mentioned very well, a new ecosystem, totally new ecosystem with new constellations, LEO, MEO, etc. There are different players that are coming to the market. This is good because the status right now is that satellite is more ready to provide connectivity services than 10 years ago. Probably some of the telco industry think that satellite is old technology that is not ready for providing good performances. And the reality is that right now we are much better than 10 or 20 years ago. We are now providing performances of, for example, in Spain, for end users, we are providing 200 megabits per second for 35 euros per month. So it's very similar to terrestrial communications. We are also working with the delay. That was also a complaint from the telco sector. And we have now constellations that providing low delay. Also the access, the antennas. Right now we are seeing flat panel antennas. So the market now is much better and ready for overcome the combination, or at least the integration with the terrestrial part. What are the things that are coming, or what are the main challenges? Yes, we need to keep working in the integration with terrestrial networks. So we still are using different standards and different technologies, different architectures. But the good thing is that the things are moving. We have in Iris Square this 5G compatibility standard. There is the 5G non-terrestrial network standard, and we are moving to implement the 5G in our satellite services. With this, we will have, for example, a core network that will manage both satellite services and terrestrial services, for example. Or we may have direct-to-device services from satellite to our smartphones. So this is one of the ideas.
Direct to cell.
Yeah, direct to cell. So these are some of the things that I think we need to keep working. But definitely our perspective is that the combination of terrestrial and satellite will be really something that we will see in the coming years for sure.
Okay, thank you. Thiago, what is your take, let's say, on the current status between the terrestrial and the NTN? But also, where do you see, let's say, the technical challenges which are still there?
Yeah, thank you. So first of all, I agree with what was said before here. Of course, there are a couple of technical challenges ahead that need to be solved. All these things that we have been discussing, into the integration with terrestrial networks, the direct-to-device, all of these technologies have somehow already been proved. There are already live demos. We have, for instance, Apple that partner with Globalstar and have direct message to the Apple smartphones. We have Samsung that also has enabled smartphones that are able to receive and send message. So things are moving forward. There is a new player with a mega constellation with more than 6,000 satellites and planning to have 12,000 satellites that show that indeed LEO can deliver broadband connectivity to the mass consumer, so to our homes. So we talk many times that SATCOM can be used to cover areas where you don't have terrestrial coverage. But for instance, with Starlink, I see people that are using Starlink terminals in the cities. So it's that competitive. Of course, there are huge technical challenge in the sense that both George and Christophe talk about the flat panel antennas. This is a big challenge. One of the reasons for the success behind Starlink was that they were able to deliver a terminal that was cheap and easy to set up. And having such a terminal by itself is very, very demanding to achieve. So we are not just talking about developing the space part, but also the user segment. So this is a big challenge. Furthermore, I mean, for the players that wish to be competitive on this market, it's also important that they are able to mass produce the space assets. They need to produce satellites on a fast rate, on a low cost, and that can be delivered at a very high rate, because this was why Starlink had success. So I think that's it. This is the main. Another challenge, that's something that is actually important, is we not only need to solve the technology aspects, but there is also an aspect which is the regulation. And this is also a key point. I was seeing if there was someone.
Let's see if he's in the room.
No, I think.
Manuel, where are you?
I think unfortunately.
There you are.
Okay. So this is a big. This is a big problem. Is a big problem, and is a challenge for some of the operators, because if you are based in a country that is small, you need to operate on a market that is very fragmented, where each country will have their own rules. And then it's tough if you want to deliver a service from space. So from my understanding, and I'm not an expert on these matters, I just know that they are a problem. Is there are two routes that can be followed. One is to use the mobile satellite service bands, and the other one is to use terrestrial spectrum. Both of them have their difficulties. So there is a lot of discussion that needs to take place to ensure that in the future we are ready to have service that can be delivered region-wide or global-wide for all the users.
Let me give you an advice, which I did in the previous panel as well. Invite him for a cup of coffee and talk to each other, you know?
I mean, I think, yeah, for sure. And we work very closely with Anacom, but I think this is also something that the operators need to discuss. And actually, I think, just to be fair, I think it's very difficult for the regulators. I mean, I know for sure that what the regulator wants is actually to foster the players have success, but they really need to coordinate a lot of things, not only between different countries, but also between other services that also rely on spectrum. So it's a very challenging.
It is challenging. It's not easy, and I know this, especially from a legal point of view. It is not always easy. But by the end of the day, we need to come to solutions. Full stop. There is no way that you can say, we didn't find a solution. No, you can't, because the other people, you know, are running away. And that's why I'm happy with the M100 constellation, because finally somebody's maybe fighting our friend from Starlink. But we'll talk come into that later. Christophe, you tipped already a bit on it, but where do you see, let's say, the biggest trends and companioned actually with the challenges in the market nowadays?
Yeah, good question. I see the biggest strength is in direct-to-device. If you look at the revenues that is expected to be generated within device-to-device within the next coming, I will say, 8-9 years, we are talking about hundreds of billions of revenues. And SES investing in Link by not only investing, but by also using our technology to create a relay with their technology to provide something innovative and that could differentiate ourselves from the market. So direct to device, definitely the the big thing, the big trend. Having said this, there are a lot of questions, especially that come from the MNOs, related to sustainability. So there's plenty of companies that have popped up like mushroom in the space industry over the last, I would say, 5 years. But the question is, who is going to stay there in 2 to 3 years? Because a lot of them will just disappear. That's one. The other thing is this sovereignty. In Europe, we very much like to have to do business with European companies. We don't really want to do business with our friends from the United States of America. We finally realize that we need to take our destiny in our own hands. Having said this, most of the startup and innovative company are coming from the US. So there is a say, which is the American innovate, the Chinese copy, and the European regulate. Yeah. So, but this is changing. I see it, for instance, with France. I'm French, and I see that France is putting a lot of effort to support startup and try to get innovative solution. But this takes time. You have to change the mentality of the people, and you cannot change things from one day to another. You also saw that Mario Draghi has submitted a report to the European Commission around the fact that we need to be less regulating and more innovative and invest in brains and startup in order to be competitive in the world of tomorrow. So that's the second point. The third point is a spectrum. So normally D2D will actually use spectrum from MNOs, but this is a very scarce resource, an expensive resource. They don't really want to touch it. So there we are looking at using different type of spectrum in Europe, which is not going to be the MNO spectrum. I don't know all the details about it, but I just know that we are helping Link to get access to the spectrum so that we can satisfy the MNO. And for Africa, we'll probably have to tap into the MNO spectrum. So it would be a negotiation, a country per country basis. And what is true with Central African Republic might not be true with Mali. And there are also a lot of geopolitical aspects to take in consideration. So in Mali and Burkina Faso, they don't want to hear about French companies and French people. So I won't be going there on vacation, that's for sure.
No.
No, but that's the things that you need to take in consideration. And then after, there is another aspect is the technical capabilities of those new beams, because it can create a lot of interferences if the diameter is big, and especially in urban area. So that's also another challenge that needs to be tackled.
Capacity shortages is, I think, also one of the challenges we see. How can we cope with that? One of the gentlemen.
So
It's on.
to be honest, when you send these questions, I have to read like 10 times. So capacity shortage in satellite, I think I didn't see that during the last 10 years. So probably we have capacity shortages in certain regions or in specific countries, for example, in Ukraine right now. But the reality is that we are seeing an oversupply of capacity during the last certain mainly because the arrival or the rise of the new constellations. But anyway, if in certain regions, certain countries, could be in parts of Africa, could be in other regions, there is a big demand. What we provide or what we recommend is to use multi-orbit approach, as Christopher mentioned. The ability to combine different networks, different sources, give us the advantage to make sure that something is available when the other is not available. For example, we are providing multi-orbit satellite that use Starlink, for example, and in some regions there are problems and the Starlink is not available. So in that cases, we move the traffic using SD-WAN capabilities to GEO or to other orbits. So this is the best way we see right now to combine on to respond to this kind of issues.
All right.
Let's
Please.
say something on the multi-orbit and shortage of capacity.
Let's look at Africa, and Rakesh knows everything about capacity
Every corner.
available and not
This
available.
gentleman knows every corner, over there.
Yeah, yeah. But what we see in Africa, for instance, we are running out of GeoKU band. So it's very scarce resource, GeoKU band, and the demand keeps coming. We see it with our competitor, Intelsat, also have shortage of capacity. And what I will see in order to ensure that the capacity is being used on the best way is to indeed do the multi-orbit and maybe offload some of the KU band that is being used to support application where, for instance, mPower could be a good fit. So basically what you do is you take back some KU bands, you push it with mPower, and then all of a sudden, from not having the capacity, you do have capacity. And it's the right thing not only for the satellite operator, but also for the end customer, because the end customer will be able to benefit from a commercial and innovative standpoint to the best technology. Yeah.
Okay, Rakesh, you want to join in?
Well, the challenges can be different from continent to continent. We always have a saying that every household spends 10% of their earnings in telecommunication requirements. But imagine that 10% in Europe can be very different for Africa, for example. Um, I mean, the challenges of Europe can be, as Chris mentioned, can be sorted through a different means. For Africa, we also have to be innovative, that we don't have to copy paste a common model that may or may not work. Possibly it works in a different way. The capacity challenge possibly was not that great more than the access in Africa, as we say. We had challenges to access to the roads. We still have a lot of places which were inaccessible. Satellite connectivity has broken those barriers and helped us to raise the economy of those villages and communities so that people start moving. And with those economic activities, a lot of things have changed without even, in some countries, without political will as well has broken. So yes, technical answers will always be helpful, but may not be the initiators. The initiators are different means. He mentioned for a country, Africa generally undergoes with the political challenges than the technological challenges. But yes, with all the development of the challenges that the technology that has happened in the recent past, I will say in the last 5 years, especially in satellite technology, especially in multi-orbit, he mentioned, also the regulation of the non-terrestrial network, the 3GPP protocols that have come and seamlessly taking it further, and possibly all the new features that we'll be able to see. If a small terminal will be able to deliver a 1 gig of capacity on satellite alone, this will be a game changer for Africa, because we still have a lot of places where terrestrial will be taking a lot of time to reach. Not only to reach, but to give a reliable connectivity as well. So I feel these interim changes, especially on the capacity enhancement, reusing the frequency spectrums, regulating the things that we said, and finally migrating and using the multi-orbit approach can help.
Okay, thank you. Iris Square. Christoph, I mentioned already a little bit, maybe you can be, the Iris Square can be a nice strategic challenger for the against or with or our friend from Starlink. Talking about Brazil, what can you say about resilience, sovereignty? How will you challenge the guy?
Well, we do not play with the same rules with Elon Musk and Starlink. The reason why he has been so successful, I think, is because he has the best engineer concentrated in one place with all the players that has something to do from the moment they create or they build a rocket to the moment they actually sell the service. So they are vertically integrated. And what it means that they are good in what they do, they are quick in what they do, and this doesn't stop. On the other hand, SES, Hispasat, Eutelsat, we are not vertically integrated. So we have to work with partners to launch a satellite. We even work with Elon Musk to launch our satellite. We depend on other suppliers to build terminals. So we don't create our own terminals, we work with partners. And because we are all dependent from each other, and because the technology has moved so fast, it's very, very, very difficult to keep up as of today. Having said this, we realize this. We also see that there is a lot of new European startup companies on the whole ecosystem, and that this will change. And IRIS² will be, I think, the right lab for us to show this. It has not been easy to get an agreement, but we got the agreement, and I can guarantee you that at SES, we are now going full speed on it. And we will be in a position to just have our own solution without depending on Starlink tomorrow. I can guarantee you. Again, I would love the sooner the better, but I think around 2030, that will be the right.
No. I heard 2028
Yeah.
twice, right? No.
Yeah.
Let's.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah?
It's all right.
Yeah. 28 was the right.
First pilot. First.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, I can imagine.
If
Guy,
I- if
yes,
I may
please
add-
bump in.
Yeah, our view is that IRIS² is not a challenger for Starlink. IRIS² is a response from Europe regarding the need of sovereignty, resilience, satellite space, industry, and solutions. So the issue is much, I will say, bigger than compete with Starlink. Is this a situation that we have right now in Europe? Is the global change that we are seeing in terms of commercial power, in terms of defense and security, and Europe have to respond. That's why we have IRIS². I don't think that we can compete with Starlink with the same tools as he mentioned.
You will always be too late.
Yeah.
Full stop.
But I can see, or I tend to believe that we can compete in a different domain. And when I give some examples, I always give the idea of Airbus versus Boeing. Boeing is an integrated company, it's a single company, private company. And we have Airbus that is a combination of different countries with our always problems that we have in terms of cultures, as he mentioned. But at the end, they can provide a competitive solution and industry that is the aero industry in Europe. So that's why I think that IRIS² is a good tool. It's not enough. We need to build also from the commercial side our future networks, our future solutions. Everybody in the satellite industry have to work in the European satellite industry to really compete and provide a future space vision for Europe.
Did we wake up? Thiago, did we wake up finally, or do we still want to keep our dependence on some other guys?
I think it was a wake-up call when we understood.
Yeah, but when the OTTs came, also the operators were like, huh, what? What just happened? What just happened? Some OTTs came. Yeah, they're making huge business on your back. Come on, wake up. Why are we always so... Is it conservative that we are? Are we lacking ideas sometimes?
I think it's not about being conservative. I think that up to when Starlink came, we were just happy with what we are providing, and we didn't see the need of innovating. Well, at SES, we made an investment.
But the growth there is inevitable.
But for whatever reason, I think we were complacent between the main players, and there was not so much competition at the time. It was very much Eutelsat,
Yeah, being in a wheel,
French-based,
easy peasy.
Intelsat, American-based that is now Luxembourg-based, which is now part of SES, and Telesat. And the four of us, we had 90%, I think, of the market share, and then we were generating our growth. We had a healthy EBITDA. I think even at one point, and this maybe 10 to 15 years ago, we had an 80% EBITDA margin. The shareholder were happy, everybody was happy, it was a cash cow. But then when Elon came...
Boom!
Ooh. But no, I think we are awake now, yeah.
No, I think I fully agree, particularly with George when he says that IRIS² is not to challenge Starlink. And it's true. I mean, before Starlink, Europe was in the forefront of SATCOM. Not only manufacture satellites, incredible geo satellites, which are Ferraris, but we were also doing quite good business, particularly delivering TV to homes. And this also changed. So this was the beginning of the decrease of the revenues of operators. So in the end, what happened is that we have a very traditional market that was well established, that was very happy. Everyone was super proud of themselves. And then there comes a new player, a disrupted player, with an idea that was unthinkable, that perhaps people didn't believe that will happen, and he pursued it till the end and showed that indeed it's possible to bring industrialization to space. And he did it at such a scale that it became dominant. So at the beginning, Starlink was just focused on private users. It was not thinking about governmental users. Still, for governmental users, the traditional players still play a role because they can provide something that perhaps Starlink cannot provide, or perhaps that governmental users don't fully trust, which is service level agreements, which is security, which is resilience. So for that, the traditional players are still playing a role. So I think in this sense, IRIS², it's the answer of the European Commission for the need of having European secure connectivity. And in that fact, I don't think that Starlink would actually be a competitor, because there are a couple of requirements that come attached to that. And in the presentation of Christoph, he pointed out that in the end, the only one that will be able to compete will be the IRIS². Now, there is a commercial part from IRIS². And for this commercial part,
I was going there, yeah.
I think that the consortium will try to take some of the potential market share of Starlink. But what does it mean? Does it mean that if I want to have a SATCOM connection at home, I'll be able to pay to IRIS² to have an affordable terminal and an affordable connection? Perhaps not. Perhaps this is not possible. But maybe if I'm an airline operator, or if I am a cruise operator, or if I'm a terrestrial operator and I want to have a SATCOM linking my terrestrial nodes, for that, I think, yes, IRIS² could be a challenge.
All right.
Just to finish, regardless, according to the forecasts, by 2030, Starlink will still own 80% of the total throughput in space.
Only 80%.
80%. And the second coming next will be Kuiper, with also a large share. And only after these two, it will come the...
We position ourselves the future number 3.
Yeah. But again, just to finish the final words, I mean, we should not throw the towel to the ground. I mean, we can still do things. We can do clever things. We just need to adapt to the reality and go from there. Because in the end, this was what Starlink did. It came from nothing and arrived where it is. Now it's in a dominant position. I think the European players can also be clever and provide solutions that actually answer the needs that are not covered yet.
As well there. Partnership as fast as possible, guys. All right. Closing round. Jorge, what can you give them as a takeaway? What should we look out for?
Well, yeah, only to remark that that the satellite industry is really changing, and we are, as we discussed it, ready for a multi-orbit world with different challenges, with different opportunities. Also, our business is growing. This is definitely, but the challenges, as you mentioned, are also growing. Regarding to the future, we can talk about the opportunities in the direct-to-device, as we mentioned, also the integration with the 5G non-terrestrial network standard. We are definitely seeing more defense and security services. All of us are discussing in our sector about this and how satellite will and can provide solutions. By the way, for a blackout also, for example. So something that we are seeing in Spain and Portugal, a lot of requirements to have certain independence, because yes, satellite provide certain independence for the customers in terms of use of connectivity. We will see also the integration more and more of AI in our services and solutions. All of us are working, for example, in this combination of different networks to apply AI and use AI to mix our services in a more efficient way. And definitely I see also an opportunity to integrate with our partners of the cable, submarines, and also the terrestrial part. Our teleports, our ground segment, what we call the ground segment, is growing. So in the geo world, from a single point in Madrid or in Lisbon, we can cover almost all the continent. And right now, it's not the case. With this new constellation, we need to have landing stations in different countries and regions. Even Hispasat, as a regional operator, we have right now 17 teleports around the world. So we need to connect our ground segment. We need to combine satellite and this ground segment all together. We have more requirements in layer 2 connectivity, private connectivity to the cloud. So there are a lot of the integration with the data centers also is growing significantly. So there are a lot of opportunities of our worlds to work together, and definitely the future is full of opportunity for us.
Okay, and of course you need to work together with those guys. You have to. Rakesh.
Well, I think a lot have been said today. Just to put my remarks on Starlink versus many things. I still believe that the way the satellite industry was working, it was creating an ecosystem of all the partners together. So starting from the satellite operator, the teleport operator, equipment manufacturer, system integrator, and many others, those who were being part of it. The advantage of that was that whenever there is a new network to be done, we select the best equipments out of the things. So we had many options. Starlink has broken that. There's no, I mean, starting from the license on the ground till satellite on the sky, they control everything, which means they also can be one day a single point of failure is a vision of one person, vision of one company, vision of one country. It cannot continue controlling it. On top of it, the satellite business plans used to be 15 years minimum, if can be extended to 20 years. It has reduced to 5 years because of the life of the satellite, which means any disruption that comes can be healthier, which we should accept today. From this disruption, there's a lot more that can be done. The good part is if this partnership program, which is on the ground, if it continues, it gives us much more strength to come out with a better model for tomorrow.
Okay. Famous last words, Christophe?
Yeah, for me, the future definitely looks bright. based on all the things that I've shown and all the innovative project we are working on. But one thing that is very, very important to my view, and this is very much what our new CEO has said, is we need to make quick decision. Execution and speed is key. We previously were very much looking at the 99.9% perfection before to come with a new solution. And this was taking years and years and years before we arrived there. If you look at Starlink, they don't need the 99.9% perfection. They launch, it's maybe 60% working, and from the failure, they learn, and they fix it, and they just go, 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 go. We are changing this at SES, whereby you will see that in terms of speed and execution, it's going to be a game changer compared to a few years ago. And I do believe that this is going to help us to remain relevant in tomorrow's world. Yeah, speed and execution. Like tonight when France will play against Spain, it will be speed and execution, 3-0. No?
Anyway, we keep him to 2028. That's it. Thank you. We'll go for lunch. Thank you so much. More to come.